Tensions have cooled between India and Pakistan after a dramatic week of conflict that brought the two nuclear neighbors to the brink of war. The symbolic beating retreat ceremony at the Attariwaga border stood in stark contrast to the deadly airstrikes, drone attacks, and cross-border missile exchanges that killed at least 66 people in recent days. A surprise ceasefire came after U.S. intervention, publicly acknowledged by Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, who thanked President Donald Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. But for India, this diplomatic twist has raised tough questions about sovereignty and strategy. Defense expert Commodore Uday Bhaskar said, "The U.S. is back in the game, which is not desirable from India's point of view. It's a mixed bag." He also criticized the government's expectations. India thought it would be a walkover, but Modi is now on the back foot.
And with the US now having, quote unquote, intervened, which is what the Pakistani Prime Minister, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, has acknowledged in public. He has thanked Mr. Donald Trump. He has thanked Mr. Rubio, who is both Secretary of State and NSA. So the US is back in the game, which is not desirable from the Indian point of view. So in terms of outcomes, I think for India it's a very mixed bag. India thought that this would be a walkover and Prime Minister Modi would emerge as somebody who's resolute, who can carry out an operation and send a message, etc. Today, in less than a week after Op Sindoor was launched, my personal assessment is that he's on the back. But very broadly, I would say that India's aspiration for strategic autonomy, this is a term we've heard many times, that has been diluted. I'd even go to the extent of saying it's been dented. But I'll leave it at that now. But I would just say that yes, India did not receive that kind of black and white support that it had hoped it would get, even in the United Nations Security Council. I think China lost an opportunity in Op Sindoor. They should have been the honest broker and spoken to Pakistan and lowered the temperature. And maybe Xi Jinping could have put out the first tweet. No, he doesn't tweet, but I'm just saying, this is my reading that, today I think the China-Pakistan relationship has become more stronger after Op Sindoor. One is that I think the problem with Pakistan and terrorism has not gone away. It has not gone away the way India would like it to go. It is a very complex challenge. Number two, tactically there were lapses, which is why Pahalgam happened. I've spoken about this in the past, that there were intelligence lapses. Those should be objectively reviewed. Number three, our military preparedness has to be, again, reviewed very dispassionately.
China studies expert Shrikant Kondapolli pointed out that 81% of Pakistani military equipment is Chinese. During the conflict, China supplied arms, conducted drills near the border, and took an openly offensive posture.
81% of the Pakistani army equipment is of Chinese origin. And these have contributed to the escalation in the India-Pakistan conflict. So China is sending a very offensive signal to India. In the midst of a conflict, China had supplied a lot of arms, and so this is very offensive in nature. The mediation efforts, ceasefire efforts. So we would expect the India-China relations to slow down given the offensive posture that China took in the India-Pakistan conflict. We may possibly see also this is reflected, impacted on other aspects of bilateral relations. We have not had the de-escalation and de-induction of troops. And China also conducted drills coinciding with the India-Pakistan conflict in Xinjiang, Tibet areas, which is again indicative that China has taken a wrong decision at that time, and so the bilateral relations are expected to slow down.
Analysts believe future flashpoints are inevitable unless diplomacy prevails over aggression. Will India regain its strategic footing? Or is the power dynamic in South Asia shifting again, with China and the US at the center?